What is up, Sleepers Media? I'm Matt. He's Jordan. We're going to go through here and talk about Duke against Niagara. This was not a good basketball game, which is great if you're a Duke fan. They probably would be happy to win every game this way the rest of the year. Duke wins this one 100 to 42. I don't know, Jamie, I'll give it to you right off the bat here. You were in the building for this one. What was your takeaway from this game, if there are any?
Sorry, Greg Paulus. Welcome. I guess welcome home, Greg Paulus. Sorry, Greg Paulus.
It's almost like
But
they were mad at him for something, right? Like that felt like that was personal almost.
yeah, he was really great after the game in his presser. He said something about our team when referring to Duke, and he
Mhm.
was like, "I'm sorry." He said, I'm still part of the brotherhood." And he said he like pointed to his little kid that was in the back of the presser and said that there's a lot of Duke and Niagara basketball games that happen on their Nerf hoop back home.
There you go.
So it was a cool moment for the Paulus family, obviously for him coming back. But the game itself, I did feel bad for Greg Paulus also because there was like a point in the first half. I think Duke was up quickly, like 28 to, I don't know, let's say six. And then I
Mhm.
see Duke full court pressing with Malik Brown and Dame Sarr, and I'm like, oh my God, they might not score 10 points.
Right.
It was, I mean, the over under was, or the over under, the point spread was 39 and a half is what it closed. Duke won by 60 basically, and
Yep.
they almost covered 39 and a half in the first half if they would have played for another four more minutes. So
That's nuts.
it was tough for Niagara, but you know what? They had great Instagram pictures and great memories, and it's just the friends you made along the way for Niagara as they get ready for in conference play.
This is like one of those things where I don't know, like John Shire has been mad at Greg Paulus for 15 years because of one play where he didn't throw them the ball, throw him the ball on a fast break or something because they did not call off the dogs here very early in this game. Like all of the starters played, I mean, I guess low 20s minutes isn't crazy, but that's just sort of the case with this Duke team, I guess, when you can bring in a whole full second team that are basically all 4 and 5 star recruits. So I was like, at a certain point, I'm like, there's 60 seconds left in this game. Why is Darren Harris still in the game? But I guess there's really nobody else to put in there that is like it was him and Homania in there to close this game. And I'm like, just this almost feels like rude at a certain point, but there aren't enough walk-ons in the world here to kind of make that one more fair at the end.
Yeah, Darren Harris is the guy still for Duke to play like in the garbage time, if you will, just for
Mm,
him to get more game reps. He was one of six, made his first three, and then didn't make anything the rest of the game. But I thought he played fine. And this is the type of game that I said in our preview, like I want to see him be aggressive. Shot six shots in 20 minutes. That's fine. When we play Howard, when Duke plays Howard, I want it to be more than that. Give me eight shots. And I talked to him after the game about like his no hitch jumper or no dip jumper, and just telling him like it looks good. It's just more game reps for him is going to pay off for him, and he knows it. And he still has the best shoe game for Duke, and you know what? That's going to pay dividends when Duke plays against a Florida or Arkansas or whatever on national television. People are like, wow, look at his shoes, and wow, three straight threes from Darren Harris, and it's going to happen because we're going to look back at this barn burner of Niagara and then Howard on Sunday with like, see, these game reps mattered. I know that the stats don't show it, but the minutes show it. Like, if there's one thing to look at, his minutes, 20 minutes. That's good for him.
yeah.
That's what he needs. So, and then what I also talked about, Caleb Foster. I wanted him more aggressive. He only shot four shots, but he was 3 of 4 from three and had 10 points. Thought he had, he, 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 he clearly showed he was better than Niagara. But I guess the story of this game for me for Niagara, or yeah, for the game was Trenton Walters being listed at 5'9", and I'm
Yeah.
sitting courtside looking at him at eye level, sitting down. It's like this guy is not 5'9". He is 5'6".
Yeah, he looked a little on TV too.
Yeah, yeah, he was short, but he led him in scoring. He had 15, the only
Yeah.
guy in double figures, 5 of 11, 6 turnovers. But again, you're 5'6" going against the tallest team in the country, so it's bound to happen.
Mm.
And a not so fun fact, Justin Page, don't watch this. Just cut this off right now if you happen to watch this or you know him. Plus minus, he was negative 50. It was a team worst negative 50. Tough game.
I've never seen that before from a single player, I don't think. That's insane.
I audibly said, "Oh my God," when I got the final stat sheet at the
Yeah.
end from SIDs, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have never seen minus 50. I've never seen minus 30,"
Right.
and it was jarring. But for Duke's side of things, Pat Gongbo going to the line 11 times.
Yeah.
That's
He was really
look.
good.
Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, you score 17 points on three field goals. Are you kidding me? 17 and 8. The one thing with Pat, though, four fouls. Like, if I'm going to nitpick,
Mm.
four fouls in 20 minutes against Niagara,
Yeah.
And you can chalk a couple of those to being careless because you're playing that you're going down to your opponent. But it's a talking point for Duke's front court of the center position. Can they not be in foul trouble? Can they stay out of foul trouble? And I'm not gonna chart this down as a game. If I do, Duke fans, you watch this and I chart this down as a game later on for a purpose of him being in foul trouble, mock me and say I was wrong because it should not count. I'm saying it right now, but future me might chart this. Gong was gonna be fine though. 17 and 8, and Malik Brown had so many damn deflections, dude. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got like octopus arms. It doesn't look like he should be able to get hands on stuff that he does, and it's a nice luxury to have coming off the bench.
I call him Swiper. Swiper keeps swiping. I mean, every time he's swiping down, and he played well. And then Dame Sarr had one of my favorite stat lines of the game: 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and a block. Like, just does it all right there. I mean, he's just scratching the surface of his potential. His
Mhm.
defense potential is there. You're seeing how excellent he is as a defender, but he has 5 assists now in the last 2 games. I know it's not a lot, but he only had 2 assists
Good.
prior to the first 4 games. And so I asked him after the game, like, hey, are you feeling more comfortable in the offense? Like, you have 5 assists the last 2 games. Are you more comfortable with the spacing of the college game than you were European? And he just said, yeah, like, the
Mhm.
game takes some adjustment, but he feels more comfortable and that he's being more aggressive in the offense to where he feels like he's seeing the floor better. And so 5 assists in the last 2 games. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you only had 2 in the first 4, that's something to look at. And then Isaiah having 3 assists as well. He's so good at being a playmaker in the half court offense, scoring obviously, but then I think he's had like 3 or 4 games now with 3 assists. Like, he's just
Huge.
that good of being a facilitator in the half court off the pin down action.
I think there's been a lot of talk about like who is the point guard for this team, and it's less important when you have so many other guys that are able to make plays like that. And it just speaks to them getting more comfortable around
Yeah.
each other. These are all a lot of high feel guys, but it's when you have too many, not too many, like you can have too many, but like when you have that many high feel guys, it's almost like when should I shoot and when should I pass and when is the right time to get this guy the ball in the right spot. So when you have that many options, it's sort of like a pick your poison, and it takes guys to learn when the right times to do that are. Just on Sarr real quick, I think he was largely responsible for why Page was minus 50. Like Justin Page is a good basketball player and he'll be good in this like the Niagara season the rest of the way here, and he just didn't look like he had any answers for a guy that is basically 3 inches taller than him and 6 inches longer in each direction. Like it's just smothering, and Hamania came in and did the same thing when you can have like one guy leave and there's no drop off whatsoever. That's pretty incredible. And then just only other thing on Gangba, I think when you're the biggest guy on the court and you're used to guarding other big guys, and sometimes now you've got to chase around a 6'7" guy, I think it can be easier to pick up some fouls sometimes. So I'm not like he's got to learn how to like pick and choose that because it will happen. Teams will go small, but that's a good learning experience for him too. Just somewhere where they'll play a mid-major team in the tournament or something like that, and he's got to figure out how to play without picking up cheap fouls on quicker little guys like that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. That's a great point. And I guess another guy to talk about, you touched on Herminia there,
Mm.
talk about him real quick, and then Caden Boozer, because Caden Boozer had a good game too off the bench. Both of them combined for 23 off the bench on what, 8 of 11 from the field, if my math is
Not
mathing
bad.
right there. And yeah, and then there are 7 of 9 from three combined. I tell you what, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Matt. If Caden Boozer makes 3 threes a game, with Foster making 3 threes a game, and Hamania making 4, I think Duke's gonna win the national championship. I'm just gonna go on a limb right here. It's a ballsy take, but you know what? Hamania making 4 threes off the bench with Caden Boozer making 3, Duke's cutting down the nets if that happens.
I can't argue with that, honestly. Like he was everywhere too, and we talked about this in the preview, but just or maybe it was an hour preview. I can't even remember, but he just covers so much ground,
Yeah.
and he's like an instant energy hustle guy, and having a dude like that that seems okay coming off the bench is pretty incredible. One thought I did have is about a guy who didn't play, and I was curious if you had any update on his status at all. But a guy like Sebastian Wilkins doesn't play at all. Is he hurt, or are they going to redshirt him? Any insight into what's going on with him overall?
Yeah, Shire's redshirting them. They
Okay.
after the first game of the season, or not the Texas game, the first home game of the season. I'm drawing a blank who that was. It was a opportunity for the walk-ons came in, Jack Scott and
Yeah.
everybody. it was noticeable that Sebastian Wilkins did not get on the floor.
Okay.
Shire's opening statement in the post-game presser was they're redshirting him. Like they had conversation. So he's redshirting, and we know that's the right path for a guy that reclassed to move up to play for a college. Like I know most college fans are kind of spoiled when they see like a Cooper Flag reclassed to move
Hmm.
up and he's the best player. When you see the reclass, you kind of you get excited. Oh yeah, he's coming a year early.
Sure.
But you know, most of the time those kids just aren't ready yet. And with this roster Duke has, and those minutes are very limited of what he possibly could have gotten, it makes a
Hmm.
ton of sense why he's being redshirted. And you know, he's going to grow and he's damn athletic. I saw in the exhibition games. And so, you know, I still have Sebastian Wilkins stock, but you know what? It's just going to be a little long-term hold for me as a shareholder. I'm going to see my results next season, and that's going to be okay.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I assume that was probably the case because this is one of those games where I think he could have come in and had like a 20 point off the bench kind of night, but it is redundant with Sar, Homania, and even Boozer because I think he's a little bit of that hybrid. For as a Maryland fan, this was like I'm trying really hard in this new Shire era to like be pro Duke because this is a likable group, and last year was a likable group, but Sebastian Wilkins picking Duke over Maryland was like a last FU for this like almost dead rivalry here, and it's like oh we could really use that dude like right now. So of course he would just go here, and there's so many good players if you can afford not to play him, but. Thank you for the insight there. But it doesn't matter. This team is so good, and that was my takeaway here. Like, you need to beat the bad teams as badly as you're beating them. And there are some teams in college basketball right now that are in this top 10 that are playing Niagara level teams that aren't doing this right now. So I think if you're a Duke fan, like you feel really good that they didn't even really need the foot fully on the gas, but they still roll easily here.
Yeah, the most pro Duke fan take I have that's going to be like an obnoxious fan take if I'm a Duke fan is I know it's Niagara, I know Duke's about to play Howard, but out of your 100 points, only 14 came from Cam Boozer,
Yeah.
who's been your number one guy all the way through this season.
Hmm.
And so for the team to score 86 points and him only have 14, I know it's Niagara. That is something that is like, you know what? That is big. That Gungba led the team in scoring, and then you
Hmm.
had what, five other guys in double figures or four other guys in double figures with Pat, and that's that's something I like to see is like if Cam, which he has, had an off night like the Texas game where Isaiah Evans was the man, and then obviously even the Kansas game, Isaiah was kind of the guy, and so it's good to see Duke have other guys involved scoring in double
Yeah.
figures. And I guess the last thing I'll touch base on, which I kind of should have let off with the show, I asked Shire after the game, after the Kansas game, what was a point of emphasis going into this weekend? Like, knowing that it's Niagara and Howard, but what's the
Mhm.
point of emphasis as a coaching staff? And he just wasn't happy with the defense, really, the toughness on the defense side of the ball for Duke. And Caleb Foster told me that post game, that was kind of the staff challenging Duke to not let. They felt like Kansas had a lot of easy buckets around the rim, like too many points in the paint, too many paint touches. And though it's Niagara, I mean, they were 13 of 48, and in the first half they only made one 2-point field goal, and then in the game they only made six out of what 19 from two, and
Mhm.
so that point of emphasis, the guys responded well against Niagara, and obviously they have Howard, and then the real test happens of the response to the Kansas game. So that is probably the biggest takeaway that I literally buried the lead to the end of this recap, but there you have it. John Shard challenged the team to eliminate or limit the points in the paint.
Saving the best point for last. Mission accomplished here for both them and for you. That was an incredible nugget to close this one with. You mentioned Boozer too. I thought the other thing that was great. Duke out rebounds them 40 to 20, and you only get 5 rebounds from Boozer, which is great. Talking about the paint defense, they give up 12 total points in the paint and 6 second chance points. Like that's as much as you can limit a team and hold them to. I don't know. You can hold any team at any level to 42 points when you put up 100. That says something. So, Jay, man, congrats, and I look forward to following up with you here after this Howard game, and hopefully for Duke fans, it's another one that looks just like this. All right, everybody, you know the drill. Like, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate you, and we'll be back here with more on Sleepers Media.